So, GarageBand has an amp designer for guitar players, and it also has a bass amp designer for bass guitar players. It's very similar to the amp designer, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll close the library, and we'll close the musical typing, and we're going to use a loop for this. So we'll click on the loops, and we'll click bass since we're using a bass amp designer. And let's find one here. That's good. Let's go ahead and just drag that in. We'll cycle it. And that way it'll just keep playing the same thing over and over while we listen to it. And we can close the loop designer, or the Apple loop, since we're not using that at this time, now that we got the one we want. And go ahead and click at the smart controls in the top left-hand corner. And we'll click on the show inspector button and the master controls. We're going to go ahead and just get rid of these. We're not going to use them at this time. And I'm just going to click on this empty spot. I'm going to go to amps and pedals, and I'm going to click on the bass amp designer. And if you looked at the amp designer, you're going to see a lot of this stuff is pretty much the same. We can zoom in here so we have a little more room to work with. Okay. And just as before, I'll just show you some of the settings, and then we'll go through and check out the different things that we have here. Of course, you can turn the amp on and off with this power button on the top left-hand side. We have factory defaults of some of the more common bass amp setups, and you can also save these. So if you find something that you like, you can actually save that out. You have your view in the top right-hand corner, so you can actually change the view here. And then you have your bass amp view, and you've got some EQ settings. So you can have the different type, pre or post gain, your different frequency levels. You can have it your bright switch if you want it, bright or not. Then you have your different switches for your lows and your highs, and then soft and hard if you'd like those. You can hide the EQ here if you don't want to use that at all. Then in the left hand, you have your channel 1 and 2 switch, your gain knob, then your EQ knobs here, your EQ settings, your compressor knobs and switch for on and off, and then your master knob. Same thing as the guitar amp designer. You can see you have different models of amps and cabinet combos, or you can do a custom if you want to have one type of amp and a different type of cabinet. Then you have if you want to use an amp or a direct box or a DI box, and you can actually choose how much level you want to use on either one of those. So you could actually pass this through an amp, or you could pass it directly through a DI box, which is kind of cool too. And then same as before, you have your mics, your mic position if you hover over the mic, and then the output. So let's go ahead and turn this on and play with this. Again, if you are already a bass guitar player, you'll know what a lot of this stuff does already. If you are unsure of these types of things, I strongly suggest looking it up. If you're into learning more about this or interested in bass playing, you might want to read up on these different switches and exactly the mechanics of what they're doing. This being kind of a basics course, we're not going to go too deep into it, but I'll just mess around with some of the things so you can actually see what they're doing. Okay, so this is going to change the type of the EQ, so we can do it by knobs or by sliders, and then pre or post. We're just going to leave it on pre for now, and let's mess around with some of the EQ settings here, so we can drop it out. Of course, it's bass, so it's going to use some of those lower frequencies. We can just get our highs. Say we want real bassy, we can boost these up. Maybe we don't want that slappy sound that much, and we just want kind of a more plucky sound. Okay. We got our bright switch. Turn this up so we can hear it a little better. Okay. Our low switch. and hard. You can see the compressor settings change there. We can hide this, like I said, if you don't want to use the EQ. Our channel buttons. Our gain knob. Our EQ knobs that we can actually turn on and off. Get a little more fine control if we want. Our compressor. I apologize if those are popping on you there. Isn't probably the best way to do this, but I just wanted to show you some of the stuff. Our master knob. Let's turn the compressor off. Okay, so then let's look at some models. If these get a little loud on you, I apologize again. Like I said, different amps are going to have different settings and different sounds, so it might get a little loud or a little soft. Again, I apologize ahead of time. If you have your speakers cranked up right now, you might want to turn them down a little bit. This is a modern amp. This is classic. See, this is a lot quieter. Flip top. And a DI box. I don't want to turn that on right now because it'll definitely feedback a little bit. So we'll leave that off for a minute. Let's go ahead and pick the modern. And we can pick a different stack. So you can see the mic's picking different speakers over there based on what we're using, the 6-inch, the 10-inch, or the 15-inch. Okay, let's turn this down a little bit and hit the DI box here. Turn that boost down too much, actually. So we got the boost, the tone, your high frequency cut, and then tone on and off if you want to change the tone. So. So now I'm using all DI box over here. I had to turn down the boost, so otherwise I'd be blasting. All right, now we can switch out the mic. And of course we can move the mic around. And the output. All right, so that is the Bass Amp Designer, great for bass guitar players. Like I said in the Guitar Amp Designer section, that if you want to purchase equipment and you don't know what to buy, it's a good way to come in here, hook this up to your computer, and you can mess around with some of these settings and kind of get an idea of what you want before you go to the store. So definitely come in here, mess around with these settings, with this and the effects and the plugins and the different cabinets. I mean, GarageBand just offers a lot of functionality that a lot of people just aren't aware of. So get in here and mess around. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it.